employee accuses CEO Andy of being toxic, says former employees are cracking up over the video. The married CEO was caught on the big screen with the company's HR chief at the Coldplay concert.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
A stadium camera, a heartbeat, and one shot that changed everything. What started as a harmless flash on a Coldplay big screen turned into a corporate horror story. We're talking resignation, leaked messages, whispers of lavish spending, and now bankruptcy swirling like a storm over Wall Street. This is a spectacular rise and equally spectacular fall of Andy Byron, the CEO who built a tech empire and watched it unravel in the time it takes for a stadium crowd to cheer. Andy Byron wasn't some overnight success. He'd been in the game for years, an operator, a strategist, the kind of leader investors love to invite to private dinners. Astronomer wasn't just his company, it was his brand, a rising star in the data world, backed by millions in funding and praised for its growth. But one night in July, that brand turned radioactive. Picture it, a sold-out Coldplay concert, the air electric, the crowd swaying like a single organism. Then the kiss cam. Fans laugh as couples pop up on the Jumbotron, blushing and smiling. And then, two faces fill the screen. Andy Byron, and Astronomer's chief people officer, smiling, leaning close, and in a single frame caught, phones lit up like fireworks. The clip raced from Instagram stories to TikTok to YouTube reaction videos before the encore even ended. By the next morning, hashtags had been born. By lunch, they were trending. And by nightfall, the clip had escaped the funny moment category and landed squarely in the corporate scandal zone. Because this wasn't just any man on a Jumbotron. This was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, caught in an embrace with one of his top executives. And in the world of boardrooms and venture capital, that's a lightning strike in the middle of an investor meeting. Inside Astronomer's offices, the mood shifted fast. What had been a Friday night headline became a Monday morning crisis. Private board calls, legal consultations, PR teams drafting statements like their careers depended on it. Because they did. Within 72 hours, the announcement came. Andy Byron was out. A short press release confirmed the resignation, mentioned an internal review, and introduced an interim CEO to ensure business continuity. It sounded calm, controlled, but anyone reading between the lines knew. The company was in damage control mode. Just as the buzz began to quiet, it exploded again. Alleged private messages hit the internet. Screenshots claiming to show Byron paying creators, subscribing to explicit content, and exchanging personal messages. The numbers attached? Eye-watering. 5, even 6 figures on subscriptions, custom videos, and exclusive calls. Were they real? No one could say for sure, but the screenshots looked real enough for gossip accounts to salivate. Suddenly, the kiss cam wasn't the main event anymore. It was just the opening act. Now the story was about secret accounts, extravagant spending, and the question that always follows a leak like this: what else haven't we seen? Social media went into overdrive. TikTok sleuths mapped out timelines. YouTube channels built mini-documentaries overnight. And each upload made the scandal bigger. Meanwhile, Byron's personal life was crumbling in plain view. Family-linked accounts scrubbed photos. Posts disappeared. Followers noticed a shift. One day, a smiling family portrait. The next, nothing. Then came the whispers. Divorce talk. Friends of friends hinting at lawyer meetings. Legal analysts popped up on podcasts explaining how high-profile breakups could drain millions in settlements. And with Astronomer equity in the mix, the stakes weren't just emotional. They were financial. And then, the rumor that detonated across the internet. Bankruptcy. Short-form videos with bold titles. Andy Byron bankrupt. Coldplay Kiss CEO loses it all. Creators spoke as if it were a done deal, citing the alleged spending, the rumored divorce, the lost salary, and painting a picture of total financial collapse. There was just one problem. No public filing. No court record. No hard proof. The bankruptcy narrative was viral gold. But legally, it was smoke without fire. Still, in the court of public opinion, the damage was done. To the casual viewer, it didn't matter if it was true. They'd already decided it was. Astronomer, meanwhile, tried to move forward. The interim CEO gave calm, careful statements. The board quietly reassured investors that operations were solid. But the reality? Reputation lingers. And the next time astronomer goes to raise money, someone in the room will remember that stadium clip. Financial experts say you don't need to file bankruptcy to feel broke. Stock options can tank. Job offers vanish. Divorce settlements take years. Legal bills stack up like a wall you can't climb. And in Byron's case, the combination of scandal, leaks, and personal upheaval could mean a net worth hit no spreadsheet can soften. In the end, this wasn't just a story about a kiss. It was about speed. The speed at which a moment becomes a meme. A meme becomes a scandal. And a scandal becomes your entire identity online. Because the internet doesn't wait for court filings. It doesn't wait for truth. It runs on outrage. And outrage runs fast. For now, here's what's real. Andy Byron resigned. An internal investigation is underway. Leaked messages, still allegations, are shaping public opinion. And bankruptcy? That's a rumor, not a fact. But in an age where perception is everything, sometimes the rumor hits harder than the truth. And there's another layer most people skim over, the investor phone calls that happen behind the camera's glare. When a leader falls, the first calls aren't to PR, they're to board members, to the largest investors, to the people who can either cut checks or walk away. In private calls, words like governance, valuation, and down round start bouncing around the room. Those conversations don't make headlines, but they steer the fate of startups faster than any scandal clip. Investors want stability. When they smell instability, they tighten their grip or look for exits. That quiet pressure changes boardroom math overnight. Employees feel it, too. For some, the scandal is a cruel soap opera distraction from the product roadmap. For others, it's terrifying because reputation damage can mean lost customers, hiring freezes, and hiring managers ghosting the company's future hires. Morale slides. Top talent updates their LinkedIn like a reflex. Mid-level managers start having awkward, what-if conversations about contracts and severance. The human cost, measured in resignations and anxiety, is immediate and real. The PR response becomes an art form of deflection and repair. You issue a succinct statement, you express regret without admitting liability, and you promise an investigation while quietly asking employees to mute the noise and keep the lights on. You plant stories about stability and product milestones. You flight your interim CEO into investor calls with calm, rehearsed answers. If done correctly, the public conversation can be nudged away from speculation and back toward business. If done poorly, every misstep is amplified as proof of a deeper rot. And then there are the minor players who somehow become major players. Former executives eager for clicks, anonymous accounts selling proof, and late-night pundits spinning hypotheticals into verdicts. They trade a narrative, not facts. They know a salacious rumor travels faster and costs less to produce than a careful report. The result? 1,000 little voices chanting the same doom-laden chorus until it sounds like truth. So what might realistically happen next? Legal filings are the thermometer. Divorce petitions, civil suits, or, yes, a bankruptcy petition would all be concrete proof of the financial damage. Without those filings, the rest is speculation. Yet even the specter of possible filings can force deals to renegotiate, contracts to be paused, and fundraisers to be delayed. Quietly, companies and boards reprice risk, and those repricings show up in term sheets and employment offers down the line. There's also a reputational half-life to consider. Some scandals burn bright and fizzle, others smolder for years. The difference often boils down to accountability and narrative control. If a company can show decisive action, remediation, and cultural fixes, the story shifts. If it stalls and leaves questions unanswered, the rumor becomes the dominant memory. Back in the public square, people will swipe and scroll and quickly forget, until the next video reminds them. For Andy Byron, the record so far is mixed. A sudden resignation, an internal review, a stack of allegations online, and a roaring bankruptcy rumor that still lacks legal confirmation. That mix is dangerous because it leaves room for interpretation, and in the age of attention, interpretation often wins. At its heart, this whole episode is a warning. In a world where a single Jumbotron frame can reset a legacy, leaders live with a new currency, Not just money or influence, but vulnerability. And once that vulnerability is monetized by rumor, it's incredibly hard to buy back trust. The story isn't over. Court dockets, investor memos, and employee departures will write the next chapters. Until then, the stadium clip remains a powerful image, bright, simple, and capable of rewriting everything it touches: reputation, finances, and the lives of the people who built that company.